A racist description of Mexican immigrants marked Donald Trump's dramatic entrance to the presidential race in 2016.
They're bringing drugs, they're bringing crime, they're rapists.
He then vowed to build a border wall.
We're going to build the wall. Mexico's going to pay for the wall.
Helping to attract a base of mostly white, working-class supporters whose fears of America's growing diversity contributed to Trump's win.
From this day forward, it's going to be only America first. America first.
The wall Trump built, though, fell far short of what he promised. These prototypes never advanced past the testing phase. Instead, Trump built 730 kilometers of fencing, mostly to replace older sections. And Mexico didn't pay a penny of the $15 billion price tag. That money is coming from American taxpayers after Trump shut down the government for 35 days, then declared a national emergency to commandeer some of the funding. Still in the final days of his presidency, Trump returned to his so-called wall to tout it as a win.
I think when you see what it does and how it's so important for our country, nobody's going to be touching it.
Border arrests plunged during Trump's first 3 months in office. But then caravans of migrant families began traveling north from Central America, claiming to flee gang violence. By the summer of Trump's second year in the White House, unauthorized border crossings reached a 13-year high of more than 130,000 a month. It was in the midst of that surge that came Trump's family separation policy. Federal agents took more than 4,000 children from their parents at the border, a practice that drew widespread condemnation. A judge quickly ordered the policy to end, saying children were suffering irreparable harm and must be returned to their families. But even today, some 500 kids remain separated. In its haste to do Trump's will, the U.S. government had lost track of their parents.
It's not as if the U.S. government collected mailing addresses for them when they deported them. We really don't know where they are, which is why there's more than 500 families who are still separated.
Another controversial border policy, Trump's treatment of asylum seekers. In 2019, the U.S. government stopped giving them conditional entrance into the country. Now, some 60,000 asylum seekers have been forced to wait in Mexico for a turn to see a U.S. judge. That, coupled with new COVID restrictions, slowed unauthorized border crossings to a trickle last spring. But now the numbers are rising anew.
It's likely that people have renewed hope for how the southern border will operate with the new and incoming president.
Trump's legacy on immigration is still to be determined by the U.S. Supreme Court, which dealt him a blow when it had ruled earlier that an Obama-era program protecting young, undocumented immigrants could remain. Now, a new panel of justices, including 3 Trump appointees, in the coming months will hear challenges to Trump's border policies. Heidi Zhou-Castro, Al Jazeera, Washington.